The leopards are feasting, the leopards are quite full and happy, and it seems to be the best way for me to deliver the news is by posting a leopard. So here is Leonard Leopard, and he is quite happy. So let's jump into a couple of news articles that I have for you today. This is the first one I'm tackling. They voted for Trump, but now they're losing their U.S. government jobs. And then I'm doing this article from Salon. A woman is like a child. Maga quickly turned its sights on stripping Republican women of power. So that's going to come next. Let's jump into this Schadenfreude. They voted for Donald Trump for president and for a change in the direction of the federal government, but this wasn't the kind of change they had in mind. They wanted to hurt those people they didn't expect to be hurt. Laid off by the administration in recent days from their U.S. government jobs, the Trump voters expressed dismay at what they said has been an unfocused, counterproductive, and callous slashing of the federal workforce. Rather than advancing the efficiency President Trump has said he desires, the fired workers said taxpayers will be losing important services that, for example, helped military veterans cope with financial hardships, search for drought and pest-tolerant crops, and assured that medical providers got Medicare reimbursements. Some of the workers are appealing to get their jobs back, while others said they are not sure what to do. Deeply discouraged that their attempts at public service appear to be spurned by the new president and some of the public. I was thinking there would be changes, said the Department of Agriculture researcher in the Mid-Atlantic region who studies drought and pest-resistant crops. But instead of being focused, this is just going completely off the rails, chopping and slicing up parts of the government that are protecting Americans. The worker, who asked to remain anonymous to increase his chances of regaining his job, said he voted for Trump twice and was disturbed by how much authority over government reductions the president had turned over to his chief cost cutter, Elon Musk. They are just in this shock and awe mode with no concern about all the damage that is being done, the employee said. He had been let go despite more than a decade at the USDA because a shift to a new job position technically made him a probationary employee subject to removal. No one is asking how they are going to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, he said. Trump and Musk and their supporters have argued that deeply entrenched government workers have, in many cases, been doing more harm than good. They say that only bold action will help reform the bureaucracy and bring about lasting change. The Trump administration earlier reported that more than 75,000 federal workers had accepted a buyout offer, agreeing to leave immediately but get paid through September. An independent tracking service found that more than 31,000 probationary workers had been targeted for cuts, including 6,700 at the IRS, 5,400 at the Department of Defense, 5,200 at the Department of Health and Human Services, and 3,500 at the U.S. Forest Service. The Trump administration backed off another job-cutting move, sending notice that the National Park Service would be able to hire 7,700 seasonal employees after earlier sending notices that extra employees who run parks in the high spring and summer season would not be brought on board. President Trump and his administration are delivering on the American people's mandate to eliminate wasteful spending and make federal agencies more efficient, which includes removing probationary employees who are not mission critical, said Anna Kelly, an assistant press secretary for the White House. Trump has signaled that, if anything, he would like even bolder reduction in government. Elon is doing a great job, but I would like to see him get more aggressive, he wrote on his Truth Social website. He says, remember, in all caps, remember, we have a country to save, but ultimately to make greater than ever before, MAGA. I have no idea how firing all of these people and making sure that they have no money to eat and live is going to make everything great, but I am totally sure he has concepts of a plan. He also posted an image of the cartoon character SpongeBob SquarePants that appeared to mock the plight of federal workers who had been asked by Musk to enumerate their job accomplishments of last week. The post implied the workers did little other than read some emails and cried about Trump and cried about Elon. Here's the cartoon mocking federal employees. Jocelyn Stewart, a health insurance specialist with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, said she thought it was the Trump administration that had lost the focus on the proper priorities. Stewart, who voted for Trump for president in 3 straight elections, said she believed job cuts would focus on early retirements and workers who underperformed. But she said she lost her job helping military veterans and others understand their benefits. Even though she was just in training, she had met all of her job requirements. Layoffs aren't easy on anybody, but there has been zero compassion for anything or anyone in this process, said Stewart, who lives and works in Georgia. A lot of these federal workers are doing good work. Please just show a little empathy. Stewart says she had consistently voted as a Democrat, but felt that as a Black woman, oh, she's a Black woman, the party had taken her vote for granted. She voted for Trump, hoping for change in 2016 and 2020 and last year, but now feels Musk has helped lead the president astray. They put no responsibility on Trump. It is sad. I would love to see Trump remove him and put himself back in complete charge, she said. I believe is going to ruin his presidency. I mean, this is what you voted for. Elon Musk was there front and center. Elon Musk was dishing out the money. Y'all loved it. Now you get to deal with it. There's still a problem with jobs, having enough higher paying jobs and bringing down the price of goods and services that normal Americans have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. There has been nothing done on that. And that's where I'm really upset, probably even more so than losing my job. Yes, because he doesn't care. He just wants to harm other people so that millionaires and billionaires can get tax breaks. And you all fell for it. You fell for it. U.S. Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat from Santa Clara, assembled a group of fired government workers Tuesday for a video conference with reporters. A couple of the workers, who said they voted for Trump, expressed dismay at the scattershot dismissals of probationary workers. I disagree with the general philosophy of improving government efficiency, but obviously disagree with the methodology. Michael Gronard, a Republican lawyer who lost his job at the Agricultural Department, wrote in a chat during the call. My role was primarily ensuring government programs serving rural and agricultural communities were carried out legally and properly, and I cannot reconcile how blind fire terminations impacting that kind of oversight work can further the overall goals of the administration. Another Trump voter described how he had served with the military in Iraq and Afghanistan, suffering post-traumatic stress disorder, and recently found fulfillment at the Veterans Affairs Department, helping others work through financial difficulties. I mean, I'll recover, but this was really a job that meant a lot to me, said the worker, who identified himself only as Mike. It was a way for me to give back, to help veterans that are struggling, and that was something I felt that I did a very good job at. He said that he proudly voted for Trump. But at this point, I mean, obviously, I never would have expected things to go this far. I'm still in shock. To say whether I regret that vote, I don't want to go as far as to say that. Khanna said that he supported cutting waste, but that Trump firings had proceeded without thought or planning and had jettisoned some top performers who were doing incredible work and getting incredible reviews. He asked Trump to reinstate the workers and to have a rational process going forward. Now, the reason why I do all of these videos talking about the leopards are feasting, I do these because of these type of people who they still don't regret it enough. They're not sad enough. They're not in enough despair. They need to feel it for at least 2 to 3 years. They need to feel the harm that their vote has done for a couple of years so that they may make better decisions next time. Because this person says, to say whether I regret that vote, I don't want to go as far as to say that. That's the reason why I hope that they feel their votes hard. I want them to feel it worse and first. I need them to feel it to where their stress level is high every single day, to where their cortisol level is high every single day. Their waistline is expanding. They're having a terrible day every day that they wake up. I need that for them. I'm going to make a part 2 to go to this Salon article, so I will be back. Now let's do this Salon article. A woman is like a child. Maga quickly turned its sights on stripping Republican women of power. Conservative women believe complicity will save them, but an emboldened far right is gunning for their rights. For decades, the anti abortion movement has aggressively promoted women into visible leadership roles. It's for cynical reasons, namely, to bat off entirely accurate accusations that the movement is misogynist. Never mind that there have always been women who are eager to police the bodies and behaviors of other women. Enough people are credulous, or at least disingenuous enough to think that I'm a woman, which means I can't hate other women, is an actual argument. For ambitious women who wanted to climb the ranks of Republican politics, anti feminism has been the steadiest of ladders. The propaganda value of their gender outweighed the party's larger hostility to women in leadership. But now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned and Donald Trump is back in the White House, many on the right feel they no longer need to hide the naked sexism fueling their movement or put up with the annoyance of women in even token leadership positions. As Kiera Butler at Mother Jones reports, the anti-abortion movement is embroiled in escalating civil war right now over these issues. Male leaders of the Christian right have been swarming Kristen Hawkins, the 39-year-old head of the student anti-abortion group, demanding her ejection from the movement. It all started after she objected to Republican legislators introducing bills to charge women who get abortions with murder. An extreme move she fears will backfire on the movement, but mostly it was about the growing male anger on the Christian right that women are allowed leadership positions at all. Remove this woman from public service, declared influential Christian nationalist pastor Joel Weeben, part of the Theo Bros movement that includes the leadership of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's church. Soon, other Theo Bros jumped in, declaring, "We need Christian men leading the fight against abortion," arguing that women's suffrage was a mistake, and accusing Hawkins of emasculating her husband by being busy jet setting. 45% of female voters backed Trump in 2024, despite his overt misogyny. Most, no doubt, believed that complicity would protect them and that the attacks would be centered on other women. But while the GOP certainly wants to strip liberal and feminist women of their rights, male MAGA leaders are showing increasing interest in bringing Republican women to heel, both culturally and through the force of law. After all, they are more likely to live and work with Republican women. If they want to feel the full flowering of male domination, it's Republican women they need to see submitting. And this is good news. The SAVE Act, this is what this one's talking about. House Republicans passed a bill, now stalled in the Senate, this session to require citizens to have a passport or birth certificate matching their name to vote. This would be a backdoor ban on voting for any woman who took her husband's last name and doesn't have a passport, an estimated 69 million women. So I'm glad that that was included in this. Weeben and the Theo Bros have been clamoring more loudly in recent months about their wish to strip women, especially their own wives, of the right to vote. You won't let women vote? Well, our society doesn't let 5-year-olds vote, Weeben explained in a May podcast. He added that a woman is like a child and that God has appointed men to protect them. As Sarah Stankorb at the New Republic documented, there has been growing support in Christian nationalist circles for the repeal of the 19th Amendment and support a household vote system in which men vote on behalf of their families. Hegseth's former sister-in-law reports she heard him echo similar sentiments. This isn't merely idle chatter either. House Republicans passed a bill which stalled in the Senate this session to require citizens to have a passport. Okay, I already did that. So it says it would also disproportionately affect Republican women who are more likely to be married, more likely to have changed their name, and less likely to have a passport. Similarly, there's been a slowly rising volume on the right of talk about banning no-fault divorce, fueled by Republicans like VP J.D. Vance, saying it's too easy for women, even those in abusive marriages, to leave their marriages. Legislators in red states are filing more bills to do so, and while it's unlikely any will pass soon, the goal is to create more momentum for an eventual ban. This would affect Republican women more because, as with the abortion bans, only red states would even consider such laws. It's also true that red states have higher divorce rates than blue states because sexist cultural mores lead to more unhappy marriages. But rather than treating their wives better, MAGA men are looking at making it illegal for their wives to leave them. There have been recent visceral examples of how increasingly bold sexism on the right is impacting women, especially in Republican circles. Last week, DC police opened an investigation into Representative Corey Mills, a Republican from Florida, over allegations that, listen to this, he beat a 27-year-old woman, not his wife. He is allegedly dating. Like Jesus, this married man is dating a 27-year-old woman. Okay. The police report indicates the woman said Mills grabbed her, shoved her, and pushed her out the door. An officer saw bruises on her arm, which appeared fresh. Police also report the victim let them hear Mills on the phone, instruct her to lie about the origin of the bruises. He denies the allegation. The situation took a darker turn Tuesday when NBC News reported that the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney Ed Martin, who has been mostly focused on firing prosecutors who worked on January 6 cases, did not sign an arrest warrant for Mills. This could destroy the case, since federal involvement is usually required when suspects are members of Congress. Martin hasn't explained his reasoning, but it's also well documented that his boss, Trump, has long argued that, fortunately, men of a certain class have enjoyed the right to commit violence against women. But it's a privilege Trump reserves only for his friends. When immigrants or working class men of color are accused of such crime, even if they are shown to be innocent, Trump calls for extreme punishment, including the death penalty. Less terrifying, but still disturbing, is the tabloid-esque drama regarding MAGA billionaire Elon Musk and women who have, or say they have, with evidence, children with him. Right-wing influencer Ashley St. Clair sued Musk this week for proof of paternity, citing text messages from him such as, I knock you up again, even though she says he barely bothers to visit with his existing child. Even more disturbing, Canadian singer Grimes, whose children with Musk have been legally acknowledged, took to X to beg him, please respond about our child's medical crisis. I am sorry to do this publicly, but it is no longer acceptable to ignore this situation. This requires immediate attention. Feminist writer Moira Donegan wrote on Blue Sky that the right-wing woman believes that sexual and reproductive service to right-wing men will earn her their protection, affection, and material support. She is wrong. Instead, Donegan wrote, it is a core belief of the right-wing man that no woman, however compliant, has any claim on him that he must respect. To be sure, it's not just conservative women who are at risk at the hands of an increasingly misogynist MAGA movement. That much was illustrated in a distressing incident in Idaho where 3 men accosted a woman who spoke out at a town hall, dragging her fighting out of a room while the local sheriff cheered them on. They were later revealed to be security guards, but it appears that it wasn't clear at the time, and it's certainly questionable that violence was necessary because a woman was heckling Republican officials at a public event. Abortion, the AP reported, appears to have played a triggering role in the display of violence. One lawmaker mentioned legislation that he said protected doctors from being forced to do abortions, to which the audience member shot back, women are dying and doctors are leaving our state. That footage is viscerally shocking, but crucially, Republican women are fools if they think that treatment will only be reserved for Democratic women. On the contrary, because Republican women tend to be in closer proximity to Republican men, they are far more likely to be on the receiving end over talkback or other perceived insubordination. So that's that. It is going to be interesting to watch how unhinged they become, because they are unhinged that women actually have rights. They are looking to claw them all back. They want to take us back to the 1950s, but that is basically what he ran on, making America great again for them as white men. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.